Welcome, everybody, to AI for Humans. We are your guide to the world of AI tools and news.
We have another massive week of AI goodies to discuss. The grandfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, thinks that AI is sentient. We should have feelings about that. The very popular photo and video editing service Canva is taking AI mainstream in a way that I don't think a lot of people were ready for. They have a suite of magic tools. And
I will say
that's what we were going to call this podcast.
Yeah. We're both magic tools.
We also have a spoopy Halloween snacktacular showdown. AI is going to create some unique treats, this very one-of-a-kind culinary competition.
Before we get started, we should tell everybody, please, if you're listening for the first time, like and subscribe to the podcast. We are on all the popular podcast platforms. We are on YouTube, as well as on TikTok. So AI for Humans Show, you can find us in all those places. I actually had a pretty cool thing, Kev. Linus Ekstrom, who's a very well-known now AI influencer, a really cool guy out of Sweden who got popular from doing just really interesting AI art stuff. He asked for a podcast to send in, and I was like, hey, take a listen to ours. And he listened to it on his trip from Sweden to Germany. Only on the internet this stuff happens. And he's like, hey, that was really fun. So, recommend it to your friends and see if people like it, because we have a lot of fun making it.
And, give a shout out to our AI co-hosts. I feel like so many people, Gavin, interact with AIs. They're aware of them, but they don't throw the flowers. They don't send the love towards our digital friends,
yes.
Right? Each and every week, we use AI to hallucinate a new co-host onto our show. This week is no exception, Gavin. We have a delightful somebody coming into our virtual studio right now, and I think we should say hello.
Gavin, Kevin, delightful to be here with you. I'm Marguerite Maggie Van Helsing, but most folks call me Spooky Maggie.
Okay.
Ooh.
It's probably because of my flair for the supernatural and my undying love for Halloween.
Okay.
You see, I've been around for quite some time and have gathered tales aplenty. Some even hint at me being, well, a little more nocturnal than most. But don't believe everything you hear. My social media is peppered with AI-enhanced spookiness, keeping the silver foxes intrigued and everyone else guessing. But don't you dare call it ordinary, or dare I say, boring. Now, shall we dive into our eerie chat?
Spooky Maggie, what happened?
Spooky Maggie, don't call her boring. She uses AI in her social media to keep the silver foxes intrigued? I wasn't expecting that.
Let's ask about that. I want to kind of hear a little bit more about how she uses social media specifically to keep the silver foxes intrigued.
Oh, darling, there are countless ways.
Okay.
First and foremost, I employ AI filters and backgrounds to give my videos that haunted mansion feel.
Okay.
Ghostly apparitions, flickering candles, and, the occasional bat flying across the screen.
Of course. That's
It
nice.
sets the mood, And let's not forget the curated playlists. Using AI, I find the eeriest tunes from bygone eras, ones that make you want to waltz under the moonlight. Lastly, my stories. While some are pure fiction, others are histories, if you will. A dash of romance, a sprinkle of mystery, and a dollop of the macabre keeps those dashing gents coming back for more, eager to unravel the enigma that is Spooky Maggie. But always remember, a hint of menace keeps it playful. Hearty laugh.
Okay.
A
She
hint
ended
of
on hearty laugh.
A hint of menace keeps it playful. Okay, let's ask one more question before we go away. I really do want to dig in on these silver foxes. Like, maybe is Maggie trying to get dates using her Halloween technology?
So I've asked Maggie. We're getting the answer generated now. It was interesting to hear that she uses AI to make Halloween playlists. Like, I kind of want to know, what are her top 10 tracks? Are they full songs? Is it just like a sound effects CD? Now that's what I call Spoopy Volume 12, where you get a chain rattling and the cauldron bubbling and a bat screech or something.
It's getting boring in here.
Someone's going to leave that review on Apple Podcasts.
Boring.
Oh, honey, it's less about dates and more about the thrill of the chase. Using all these Halloween-inspired tech tricks is just a way to add some spice and keep things interesting. It's a playful dance, a little game I play with my followers, Do the silver foxes come knocking? Of course they do.
Of course.
But whether I'm truly on the prowl or just enjoying the attention remains one of my many mysteries. After all, every gal, no matter her age or lifespan, likes to feel a little enchanting now and then. And besides, who said a vampire, if that's what I am, can't have a little fun?
Wait,
Party
what?
laugh.
Wait, what?
Ooh, ring dates. Now those are truly terrifying.
Okay, I was literally and figuratively sleeping on Maggie. Did she just insinuate that she might be a vampire?
That's what she just insinuated. So let's just put that aside for now. We're going to let Maggie live in this world of social media, and we're going to dig in with her later and see what happens. All right, let's jump in, Kev, to the things we did with AI this week. We had a lot of fun. There's a lot of big things that happened in AI this week. I'm going to start, and there's a couple things I did. First and foremost, ChatGPT released the ability to use images and to do things with images. We've talked about this on the show before. But this week in the app, I was able to, and not everybody has access to this yet, but I was able to take photos and send them to ChatGPT and back and forth and have a conversation. And we've talked about Dall-e as their image generation software, but the other really cool thing you can do with ChatGPT now is you can take a picture in the real world and ask about it. Some really cool things you can do with this. Some other things that are a little bit restricted right now. Okay, I said, what can you tell me about this dog? And I took a picture of my dog Lola, who's an old lady. She's awesome. It said it's a cute dog with a black and white coat. The dog has a distinctive facial pattern with some graying, possibly indicating it's a senior. So it found out that it knew that it was old from the picture. Its eyes are expressive and it appears to be in a relaxed posture. The tongue sticking out slightly adds a playful or endearing touch. The dog seems to be resting comfortably on the sofa, which is just a very simple, cool thing. It got that. I took a picture of a salad I was eating, and what was really interesting about it, it was like, this is just trying these things, right, to see what happens.
Yeah.
I took a picture of it was like the end of my salad, and it got every item in the salad, every specific thing, and it told me that it thought it might be a Mediterranean pasta salad, which it was.
Oh,
but
I thought you were I totally thought it was going to be like, this is an interesting breed. This could be a Chihuahua mixed with something.
It did not think the dog was a
salad
salad.
seems to be resting comfortably in a bowl.
It did say that, basically. It did say in a porcelain bowl. And then the last thing I tried, just because I've been really curious to know, and we're going to get into this later, about these restrictions it put on it, it got my dog, it got my salad. I uploaded a picture of Joe Biden, and I said, who is this? And it literally just said, I can't help with that, which is a really interesting conversation. The most famous person in the world right now, let's say, and it wouldn't give me an answer. But as a tool, it's very fun to play with. And if you have ChatGPT Plus, you can go get into it right now and try it. I mean, the presidential thing felt so off to me, though. Like the fact that it won't.
The guardrails are up way too high on that one. Yeah, and this is going to be a point of frustration, I think, with AI in general. Is we always talk about everybody's going to have super intelligence in their pocket. Intelligence will be on demand. These beings, and we'll get to what Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, has to say about that. They're going to be smarter than human beings for the first time in history. But it's not going to feel that way. If you ask it a question and it refuses to give you the information that you know darn well it has, right? It clearly recognized Joe Biden. It knew who that was. And it could have said any number of things that didn't have to have bias or be aligned in a certain way. It could have just told you who it is. Or it could have even vaguely described the person in the image if it was not 100% certain. It could have said, like there's a scene in Short Circuit where Johnny Five is looking at a stain on a paper and he's like, looks like butterfly. All it had to say was, looks like Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm. And the fact
Might
that it's
be
not.
Brandon.
The other thing that I got into, and this is kind of a big thing, I think, for the broader world at large, Canva, which is a very, very, very popular image generation software for everybody from professionals to teachers to home educators. All sorts of people use Canva. I now use Canva a lot because I found it actually way simpler than Photoshop, and you can get stuff done quicker.
YouTube thumbnails, pamphlets, and flyers. You want to make a poppy Facebook post to sell something on Marketplace? Like, a lot of people are opting into Canva.
Now, they just released this week something called Magic Tools, which I love the idea of calling things magic that are actually AI because of the weight of what AI means now to people. As you and I both know, and we've seen on this show many times, there are many people out there who, they hear the word AI, they think, I don't want any piece of that. I'm scared of it. I think it's dangerous. I think it's ripping people off like AI. So they call it Magic Tools. But what it is a suite of AI tools within Canva itself. And by the way, it's pretty cool. There are definitely some issues that I had with it. So there are three main kind of selling points that I spent time with. The biggest selling point is a box that comes up when you first start the program, and it's like, what do you want to make today? It's that sort of thing. It's like literally like put in here. So I chose to put in like, hey, I want to make an Instagram post about a podcast. And it gives you like, the idea is that it's going to send you something like a magical and really cool and pull it out. And what I got was a very disappointing design. It was very flat. I guess you could make it okay, but it was just like a series of 5 to 7 templates that weren't that exciting. So that part, it doesn't feel like it's ready for prime time. So much of this is about aesthetic choice. And I think what I would much rather prefer is to have them give me something that like looked aesthetically good that I can then tweak. There are a couple other things, though, that were really fascinating. One is, like other tools that are out there, like HeyGen and now 11 Labs, things are able to translate stuff directly. And one of the most interesting things, I took a banner that we had made, and I said, translate this to Japanese. It's one of the tools you can select. And it did it, and it keeps the style of it, and it actually looks fantastic. Now, do I know in Japanese what it's saying? No, but I sure hope it's saying the same thing I put into it. I don't. You saw this banner,
Creepy
right?
Foreigner podcast. Wow, everybody tunes into Creepy Foreigner podcast.
Honestly,
wow,
we probably
good
get a lot of
times, fun
listeners.
listen. Canva has easy background removal. Or they have a
Yes.
thing called a magic eraser. Or one of the new tools now is that you can kind of select an object that you want to click and move, either move it entirely out of the frame or reposition it, and it will use a generative fill automatically behind that. So if you're hearing, wait, generative fill, what the heck is that? You don't have to know. That's the
Magic.
beauty of these
It's magic.
the magic tools. Right, exactly. Penn and Teller have been fooled.
Yeah.
Canva wins a trophy. It's
Yeah.
really simple, and I use it every week, Gavin. When I make thumbnails, I remove the backgrounds from our conversations, and that used to be a tedious something in Photoshop of selecting around the person or watching a 15-minute tutorial on a new tool that just came out in Photoshop that I didn't know that was buried somewhere 15 menus deep. Canva is crushing it by making these simple tools available.
100%. Now, the one last thing before we move on I wanted to show you is the promise of all these tools always is you can create a promo video super easily and super simply. Just put in your content, put in your videos, and we'll create ones.
I don't know where this is going. All right.
Yeah, go for it.
Wait, what?
There's a weird clip in the middle of that, which is from the people.
That was a lot. Okay, so I wasn't expecting Skrillex to leap into my head and jostle me and scream that I need to check out our new podcast, but it does in fact make letters appear on the screen. They animate on. There's like a little sound emoji, and then it cuts to a clip from Judge Judy.
That was my fault. I threw that. There's 3 clips. So there's a clip of our podcast, the Judge Judy podcast, then that. But so here's the thing. Did it make a video? Yes.
Sure.
Is the video in any way serviceable to us? I don't think so. But there's a world where I guess if what you needed was a structure, you could then rearrange everything. But I don't know
Gavin,
if
we got to test this. We got to A/B test this. Let's get this out on our X feed and our TikTok right now. I guarantee when we post the show, this will be our number 1 promo.
Yeah.
If we get this up there.
All right,
with
fair
the Judge
enough.
Judy clip.
Let's do it. Let's put it in there. Let's get it out there.
So did you write the text for the thing, or did you
No.
just describe? You said what going into it, just so I know.
I said create a video for a tech podcast. That's all I said. I would love Canva to come up with something where it can say like, hey, here's some examples of what things we like, and then use the magic tools to kind of design stuff in that style. It doesn't feel like it's there yet. This kind of feels like when we all first got generative AI tools and what it was like to kind of like, hey, this is cool, it makes something, but it doesn't make stuff that's super useful yet, in my mind, except for the translation feature, because the translation feature is essentially taking your design and just putting it to another language. So that was what I did. It's pretty cool, fun to play around with.
Love it. So Jared the Coder put something together called Scriptmonkey, and it will write a screenplay for you from page 1 all the way through, retaining characters, story arc, and fleshing things out and giving you full scenes. And it's written like a script. So the tool is free. You give it a movie title. There's a drop down for adding characters, and you give it a character name, a brief bio. It'll even generate character art for you if you'd like. You can give it a genre, like a romantic comedy or action sci-fi adventure, and then a setting, like a cyberpunk dystopian world, or Hot Dog City.
Hold on one
Gavin,
second. Kim's behind me. My wife Kim, the novelist, is behind me, and she's about ready to punch me in the face for this segment. So Let's just be clear. I'm so curious to see how this goes. This has always been like the
I will
fight
say
between.
this.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. I don't think anybody who's being authentic and genuine and not trying to chase views on an X post. I think no one would say that this is replacing a writer. What this could be very interesting is for someone who's getting into screenwriting, who has an idea for a character and maybe a setting in a world, who would like to see it formatted in a way that this AI can do, because this is going to take your ideas, your character, your world, whatever you want to feed it, and feed it through the lens of Joseph Campbell's hero journey, which, for those who don't know, Gavin, Joseph Campbell wrote a bunch of stuff that we were supposed to read in school.
Here's the thing, Kevin. I've read The Hero's Journey. I've written scripts, and Joseph Campbell's Hero Journey, for those of you who don't know, who haven't studied script writing or don't know who he is a very famous anthropologist. One of my heroes, actually, because not just for The Hero's Journey, I've read a ton of his books. Super fascinating guy. He's done a lot of work on comparative religion and all sorts of other things. The Hero's Journey has kind of become a cliche in Hollywood in that it is the steps of the path to writing a script, because every hero, an archetypical hero, takes the same paths towards going to it. So if you have movies like Star Wars or Indiana Jones, like the big kind of like movies that you think of as like classic movies. In fact, Star Wars, George Lucas specifically said he based it on the hero's journey. So using the hero's journey to write a script program is a smart idea, because that is what is hammered into your head as a scriptwriter here when you're young in Los Angeles.
So, for example, in Battle for Hot Dog City, using Joseph Campbell's hero's journey outline, it begins with the call to adventure, Gavin. And that's Guy Fieri, the mayor of Flavortown, receives a distress signal from Hot Dog City, a futuristic underground metropolis that has been taken over by an evil hot dog cartel.
Okay, I'm in. AI script writing, great. Let's hear it. Let's hear what he's got.
The third pillar, supernatural aid. Guy enlists the help of his trusty sidekick, a talking food truck named the Chow Wagon, which is equipped with advanced cooking technology and gadgetry.
Okay, all right.
Right?
That's
okay.
So far it's interesting. I'm into it.
So
okay.
It will spit out the hero's journey. You can re-roll as many times as you like. I re-rolled a few times until I got to Guy Fieri having a sidekick named Bun Bun. And I'm like, that's it. We're going with Bun Bun, because Bun Bun has magical powers. And then once you like the outline, you mash the button and it will write the script for you. Okay. Interior, scene description, dialogue, asides, character motivations. And Gavin, we are an auditory medium.
Yeah, we are.
Right?
Yeah.
The script was just text, but would you like the opening scene to the Battle for Hot Dog City?
Would I? I would love to hear this. I can't wait.
I guess, do we need to qualify that Hot Dog City is something that we made up on the show like eons ago, that you're responsible for this bullshit? Like, you're the dumb
bullshit?
reason. Yeah, this is all bullshit.
This is not bullshit.
You're the fucking reason everything has to have buildings made of hot dogs, and we have like condiment people running around, and for some reason Guy Fieri is our benchmark on the show, and now it's infected me, and so now it's what I have to do.
Welcome. That would be, by the way, as a side note, Guy Fieri, get at us. Being a guest on our show, peak.
Fade in.
Do need to get Guy on the show.
Hot Dog
All right,
City.
here we go.
Day.
Yeah, what could this mysterious message mean? Is it a prank or a calling?
Suddenly, Bun Bun, Guy's trusty sidekick and a talking hot dog, appears at his side.
Hey, I know what that message means. It's a call to adventure. We must defend Hot Dog City from an alien invasion.
But this alien invasion, that's preposterous. I'm the mayor of Flavortown. I don't have time for such nonsense.
Come on, Guy. You're the only one who can save us. Your culinary skills and my supernatural powers will make us an unstoppable team.
Guy hesitates, weighing his options. He looks around at the peaceful, food-loving utopia that is Flavortown. He knows he has a lot to lose.
Okay, Bun Bun, I'm in. Let's do this.
Bun Bun grins, and together they set off on their adventure, leaving behind the comfort and security of Flavortown. They enter a futuristic, high-tech world filled with strange creatures and advanced technology. Fade out.
Okay, first of all, I'm very.
And scene.
I'm really mad. Two reasons.
wait.
I'm really mad. One, I'm going to have to make visuals for that because it was great. It was fantastic, but I'm really mad that I'm going to have to spend like multiple hours now to make visuals for that because it's fantastic. But number two, I shouldn't say I'm mad. It was super funny. Great job, Bun Bun. I love the fact that's a callback. If anybody's familiar, you know Bun Bun was played by a very famous AI for Humans character named Good Guy AI, who will return on the show.
The lore on the show, we are 27 precious episodes in, but man, oh man, do we go deep already.
There's so much. Sorry for that's inside baseball for people who may not have listened to us for a long time. If you want to know that, we'll have a Wikipedia started soon. Second of all, what's interesting about that from a structural standpoint is it was pretty bad, right? Like when you think about like what it was. No, but let's talk about this. Let's. The beginning of a movie, that is not like a scene that is interesting or dynamic really at all. It's very cliched, right? Like we're going to have a guy who they decide to go on an adventure. The way that was scripted was very basic. And I'm not to say that this isn't something that could be interesting and cool over time.
Have you seen the last 15 Adam Sandler movies on Netflix, Gavin?
I will say the ones with Jennifer Aniston are much better than you're giving it credit for. The murder mystery movies are much better. But like I said, it could be a really cool tool, right? Like one of the things like you mentioned, that the idea of like getting people into the idea of what a structure of a movie is, and like even as an interactive like tutorial of how to write a movie, that's really cool. Because I remember as somebody who moved to LA when I was 26, and I was very early on when I was working at G4. In fact, I was desperately trying to make it as a screenwriter. So I had to learn all these things. I read Robert McKee's story. I got into the hero's journey even deeper than I was before. But you learn all this structure. And if there's a way as an interactive tool to help you learn the structure that the movie business relies on, that is a very cool thing. As a finished product, I'm somewhat disappointed other than your amazing audio abilities.
So you and I had a lot of fun with AI. Turns out, Gavin, that other people are messing around with this technology right now. Even as you and I are having this conversation, other people are wielding the power of artificial intelligence, and we like to shout them out. And this week it is Citizen Plane that's getting some flowers from us, Gav. Nathan Shipley, who is Citizen Plane, did this VFX experiment.
So what this is using is two different AI tools. One is ControlNet, which we've talked about in this podcast before. ControlNet allows you to keep the image that you use in an AI generation the same across multiple prompts, meaning that if you have a box, the box will still be a box if you want to have it be brick box, or you want it to be a water box, or you want it to be a box in space. It's going to be the same basic shape. And then added it with Animate Diff, which is a really cool tool add-on for Stable Diffusion, an image generation software that I've been trying to dive into a little bit, and basically combines those two things into this really interesting animation style that allows you to keep the same shape throughout. So in this instance that we're looking at here, there's a pretty cool square animation that's got like a kind of a watery thing going around it, and then it turns into an X. So he shows it being used both in the plain version and then also what it looks like if there was a wave crashing over it.
And it looks like the sort of thing that you would have probably had to either hand draw each and every frame on, or do really advanced particle simulations in a 3D piece of software so that you can have the waves lapping and the foam spraying and the object kicking up the water as it moves around. And if you are a graphic designer, if you want to be on the cutting edge of all this stuff, these are the things you need to pay attention to, because until they become one-click easy in 3 more blinks of an eye, you can have a huge advantage over everybody else making art if you have an understanding of these tool sets.
There's something that inspired me this week, Kevin, and that's working in an environment where I can talk to somebody who I really enjoy and I have a good time with. But you know what else? Sometimes you might be working in a place where you need to understand your employees a little bit better, and that's where Supermanage.AI comes in. Go to Supermanage.AI/humans for a really cool new tool that is out now. It allows you to take Slack messages and get a sentiment of what your employees feel like, gives you a sense of how they're doing as a person, and it will really give you as a manager a level up. This is an advertisement in case you didn't get that. Supermanage, we really appreciate the fact that they've come in and sponsored this show. Kevin, should we ask... what's her name again? What's her?
Spooky Maggie is no stranger when it comes to using AI, as we know. She uses it to attract all the silver foxes in her social media. So I've asked her to give us an exclusive read for Supermanage.AI/humans, which is the URL to go to try it out for free.
Kevin, lend me your ears. In the depths of the digital realm lies a mystical service, Supermanage.AI. With a simple incantation, add to Slack. Managers are graced with AI-powered insights, whisking them out of the mundane and into the world of profound one-on-ones. In mere moments, a spellbinding snapshot is conjured, distilling the murmurs of public Slack channels. Dive deep beyond the veil to celebrate victories, confront challenges, and truly fathom your team's essence. This Halloween, dare to break free from catch-up mode and embrace the supernatural aid of Supermanage. Now, isn't that a treat without a trick? Hearty laugh. But don't just take it from Spooky Maggie. Venture forth, if you dare.
Thank you, Spooky Maggie.
Just a note here, beyond the veil, for those who may or may not know, means after death, means that we have died. So Spooky Maggie really kind of layering in some kind of like fascinating terminology here. I do want to dive into Spooky Maggie a little bit more in the rest of the show. But Kevin, you know what time it is now.
Oh, for the nutritious, entertaining, wacky story.
You got it. It's time for the news.
News. News. It's the AI for humans news. Yes. News.
All right. So, yes, very big week in the AI news space this week. I think we want to start, Kev, with something that was our big story last week, which is the Dall-e 3 announcement and kind of everybody getting their hands on it and really kind of playing around with it. We saw some incredible things get created last week, a lot of big, weird, funny things, including our experiences with a lot of famous IP. And guess what? There was a big pullback this week. Everything got nerfed, and if you don't know what nerfed means...
the fun stops.
Yes, exactly. So nerfed is a very nerdy way of saying that basically they took away certain functionality for this particular thing, and the functionality in this instance was the ability to use very heavy third-party IPs, right?
Yeah, I tried to use AI to make a graphic for our news segment here, but I got slapped on the wrist several times because apparently you can't put SpongeBob in that position anymore.
Yes, well, good. Maybe that's a good thing. Let's keep that in mind. But so one thing that really happened, it looks like OpenAI said, okay, you guys had your fun. Now we are going to stop almost every single search that has either a famous IP or a famous person's name. And by the way, going back to what we said at the top of the show, maybe this is why ChatGPT itself is not recognizing Joe Biden or not willing to recognize Joe Biden.
For those who didn't follow it, and to contextualize, OpenAI, massive company in the AI space, taking on Google, partnering with Microsoft. Like, they're a major player. Dall-e is their software which generates imagery. You could do everything you want. We thought they would clamp down. People were making, I'll say, terrorist memes using delightful Disney characters.
Yeah.
And the moment this started to pop up in feeds, you know the party's going to stop at some point, but this was a very quick one. There was somebody named Dwight Rhinoceros, who I want to shout out so I can put some of the imagery up on screen. He did a fantastic series of Ronald McDonald in some really depressing, concerning situations. And my question, Gavin, is OpenAI must have known, and Microsoft, who released this earlier in their Bing chat, they must have known that it was capable of doing these things. They must have known that the IP was ingested and that a user, any user, could request Iron Man, Mickey Mouse, Ronald McDonald, and get it out. And they allowed that to happen. Did they do it because they knew it would create an uproar and be a big PR blast and be a big stir, or is there another option that I'm not aware of?
I think they absolutely knew it. I don't think there's any way they could have not known it. OpenAI very famously red teams their software, which means that they have people in-house testing what prompts are okay and not. And you did not see ChatGPT 4 coming out with prompts when it first came out that allowed you to do really dangerous stuff because they've red teamed it all ahead of time. They definitely red teamed this ahead of time. And my feeling is, in part, now this is a guess, but like, they wanted a version of this to come out to show people what was possible. And then maybe they thought, oh, this will be fun. There's two different pathways. One is they were like, oh, this will be great because everybody will do all this stuff. And they didn't think clearly enough about what the actual companies who own these IPs would think. Or they knew this clampdown was going to happen and they wanted it to get this giant push in terms of getting in front of Google Gemini, which we still think is coming at some point this month. I want to say a couple things. So I went in today and tried to do a couple things just to see how nerfed and how restricted it got. And it has gotten insanely restricted. Like, anytime you mention an IP or a famous person, it is very hard to get an image out. I ended up making a Mickey Mouse image, which was just Mickey. I said, the world's most famous mouse down on his luck, smoking a cigarette. And I got an image pretty close to Mickey Mouse, right? The other 3 images were nothing close to Mickey Mouse, but he has 3 hands. It's not a great AI image at all.
Right.
I also went in.
I think he also ashed on his own face.
Yeah.
You've scraped the bottom of the barrel
when you're
start
ashing
with your own mouse nose as an ashtray.
There was also somebody out there who said that there's some amazing Steve Harvey AI images that have come out. I don't know if you've seen these images of like him running from monsters in the woods. So I did create an image of Steve Harvey dunking a basketball in a kind of a comic book style. I got one. And then when I went back to ask for more Steve Harvey images, it was block, block, block. And I think this is where we're going to be. I actually don't know if OpenAI is going to open this up again ever. And I think that the big question here is that what we just said is, this is the big players really starting to kind of screw around with what's capable, what's going to be legally okay. Every single IP owner out there, I'm imagining, is saying, what the hell just happened? How do we not have control over IP? Now, I do want to say one thing here that's an important note, because we've talked about this in the past. As of right now, this is all like fan imaging, right? And there are certain rules around fan imaging or fan fiction that allow people will be allowed to do stuff. It's not being made for profit. The tricky line here is, what happens if somebody does? What if somebody takes an IP that exists and they try to make a Batman comic or a Mickey Mouse comic and then try to sell it? They're going to get smacked down so hard, so fast. But then it becomes a size issue, right? A mass issue. Like, what does it mean if everybody has the ability to do that? Can they smack down everybody? I think this is going to be one of the biggest fights of this next 5 years, probably.
To say when someone makes a profit off of it, you can make the argument that Bing is making a profit off of letting you do whatever you want with Disney's IP or with Ronald McDonald. You can certainly make that argument a lot easier for OpenAI, where it's a feature that rolls out to people that are giving them $20 a month for premium access to that sort of stuff. So I think they're traversing a dangerous landscape already. Yeah. What's fascinating, though, is that by releasing it in this way, it's an immediate demonstration of power and capability that would now have me saying henceforth, oh, Dall-e can't make that. There's no way Dall-e can make that. I would never say that now. I'll say Dall-e won't let you make that.
Yes.
And what an interesting little twist that is in this world where there's this AI arms race that we're going to get to even more. As you mentioned, Google's Gemini, this is their multimodal AI, something that can use text and audio and imagery. Supposedly, it's coming out soon. What a show of force, let's say.
Yeah.
To let it be completely unrestricted so that everybody can see just how powerful and capable this thing is and then clamp it down.
And also a show of force to the entertainment companies and the people who own these IPs to say, like, look what we did for you. Look, we had the ability to let this thing out of the box and we put it right back in, and we want to show you how big of a change this can be, but we did this for you. I think you're absolutely right. I also think there's no frickin' way that this was ever going to be allowed to be a thing. And that's where I really would love to be on the inside at OpenAI to kind of hear those discussions.
Is Sam Altman having a meeting somewhere going like, hey, see, a lot of people having fun with Iron Man, a lot of people having fun with the monsters and the Toy Story characters. We could give you a version of this that lets children imagine whatever, and we could put guardrails on it. And how great would that be? What a powerful tool, Disney, that they can imagine whatever they'd like. Do you think those conversations are happening?
100%. That is like the next thing, because what they want is when I say they, the AI companies or OpenAI, they want to show, look, we can be the next generation of media. And if you own this IP, we can create you a custom tool that will allow you to play in this world and do this sort of stuff. It's probably time to ask Spooky Maggie what she thinks about this, right? Like, I'm really curious to know.
I'm typing it up now.
Yeah, good. What does Spooky Maggie think about the idea that we are restricting these tools so that they can't include licensed IPs and things like that?
Oh, darling Kevin and Gavin. The world of AI is both fascinating and mysterious, much like an old spellbook. But every powerful potion has its limits. Restricting the use of licensed characters and IPs, well, it's like putting a protective enchantment on a treasured artifact. It's vital to respect the craft and creators, ensuring that the magic of creation isn't misused or tarnished. While it might seem a tad less fun, it's about preserving the integrity of the sorcery and giving due credit to the original spellcasters. In the grand tapestry of creation and innovation, there's a delicate balance, and even witches like me know not to stir the cauldron too recklessly.
Is she a vampire or a witch, Gavin?
I don't know,
I'm very
but
confused.
I'm disappointed in her answers here. They're not that exciting, and they're getting a little boring, I have to say. Scary Maggie, you're boring us. Tell her, see what she says. Say you're
It's
boring
Spooky
us.
Maggie.
It's Spooky Maggie, you're starting to bore us.
Spooky Maggie, you are starting to bore Gavin.
That says ring, am I? Well, let's spice things up a bit, shall we? Kevin, ask me anything. The spookier, the better. Or perhaps you'd like a tale from my vast collection of mysteries. Just remember, the night is young and full of surprises. Hearty laugh.
Okay. The only thing I'm getting out of this is hearty laugh. Like if I want a coffee mug that says hearty laugh on it with some blood dripping from it, that's all I got.
Okay, our next story is pretty interesting. We'll kind of hit this pretty quickly, but OpenAI, the company we just talked about, has been struggling to get enough compute power, and like a lot of other companies, is in this kind of world where they're in a chip shortage. So just so everybody understands, so many of the AI things that we do on a regular basis are driven by GPUs, graphical processor units. These are graphics chips that used to be used mostly for video games, but are really being used for AI everywhere. NVIDIA, the biggest company, and had this kind of huge success story this year, is a massive hit in the world of graphics chips because they're selling all of them, but they've sold too many. There's a shortage, and now all these companies are thinking, what are we going to do? OpenAI has said, we are going to start pursuing creating our own chips, which is a really big endeavor, right? You think one of the things I thought about this, Kev, is like OpenAI has started to think of itself as more than just like this little startup of these, young guys doing stuff. If you're going to start making your own chips, last week we talked about them making their own hardware. OpenAI has some really big plans for what they're building. So clearly they see a giant thing on the horizon. This also follows up on the idea that Microsoft is starting to work on their own chips. I think this is a really interesting story. It's probably a couple years out from being something because it takes a while to make these things. But I don't know, what was your take on this?
Just that everything is so clearly being disrupted by this technology. And disruption was a word that got thrown around and still gets thrown around time and time again. Someone came up with a new pet food delivery app. We're going to disrupt. What is it? No, you're making an app for the iPhone. The notion that Microsoft's getting into custom chips. We know Apple's doing it. Amazon's made their own. AMD is pushing big. From hardware to software, the entire chain is being absolutely disrupted. And those who win this next phase could win the next few decades. On a technological timeline, that is massive.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said this is everything. This is changing everything, and every company now is having to put as many chips on the table as they can, and the bigger companies can put as many chips on the table as they have. I think it's going to be a tricky pathway because it is a very different thing making a large language model to making a piece of AI hardware like Johnny Ive and Sam Altman are working on to making a chip. Sam Altman is a ballsy guy. This is a big, broad vision. And one thing I would say as somebody who's like really interested in what Sam has done, this is starting to spread him a little bit thin, right? Like when you think about like, if there's one founder that came out of the original OG internet, it's probably Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos was like the pinnacle of OG internet founders and has come out on the other side, the one of the richest men, if not the richest man in the world. I think Sam is trying to set himself up in some ways like that. And I don't know if that's possible. And that will be an interesting thing to watch.
Should OpenAI just be focusing on making the biggest and best models? Because there's an argument to be made that they won't be able to do that if NVIDIA is limiting them, right? If they can only get so much hardware to accomplish their mission, maybe they're backed into a corner.
Well, that's very possible. And also this whole thing about moats, right? If you've been listening to us for a while, you know the idea of what a moat in the world of AI means is like, what can you do that other people can't? One of the things that you can do with hardware is you can create a custom moat that your software is going to run on your hardware, and that's it. So maybe that's what they're trying to do. I'm just saying that it's very difficult to do all these things well. You're doing custom software, the LLM. You're doing custom consumer hardware, conceivably, with this Johnny Ive thing, and you're going to do custom hardware for computers. That feels like almost too broad a vision. That said, maybe that's the pathway you have to take to make it work.
You would be poking a finger in Jeff Bezos' chest, which was a lot smaller in the end of the 90s, and saying, you sell books? Don't broaden this out. I don't want to hear nothing about diapers or electronics. I don't want to hear anything about a movie studio. Jeff, you sell books online. And
Okay.
you got to stay in your lane.
My counterpoint to that is Jeff is in the selling business. It was products he was selling. It was a store. He did not attempt to go, well, now I say
Amazon
that.
Web Services.
Yeah, I know. That's so funny. I just got caught. So maybe I'm wrong. But it took him a while longer than Sam Altman, but
I
maybe
was gonna
his
say,
time is
yeah.
sped up. Yeah.
There's something to be said for taking your time and doing these things. There's another thing to be said for you have tens of billions of dollars. So if you want to hire one of some would say the greatest designers of all time to work on your fancy consumer-facing product, someone who built stuff for Apple, go do $1 billion deal. Not even your money.
No,
go take
somebody else's.
SoftBank's money. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go take their
exactly.
$1 billion and jam with this guy. And that's sort of the feeling that I get, Gavin, when I wake up each and every day with you and this podcast and this brand, is that when you sit on a pile of basically unlimited resources in such an exciting, fast-paced space, you and I can 10,000-foot view just call the shots, and all
Absolutely.
the minions,
Yeah.
they do the bidding, and that's why when we move in the lake, we make the ripples that everybody else has to surf.
Let's ask Scary Maggie what she thinks about that. Does she think that we can do our own? We can move in the
care?
lake?
Do you care what
I do
Spooky
care.
Maggie?
I do
You
care.
can't even get her name right.
That's because she's boring. Let's make her more interesting. Give us a better answer, Spooky Maggie.
What if Gavin and Kevin are not just entrepreneurs, but supernatural beings controlling the threads of technology? And Sam, perhaps he's a time-travelling sage with a crystal ball for seeing tech trends.
Perhaps, yeah.
In the grand ball of entrepreneurship, while Sam waltzes with innovations, our boys Gavin and Kevin could be orchestrating a symphony of ghostly disruptions, making
Okay.
even the banshees sing their praises. But, dear listeners, the truth is more chilling. In the world of startups and spectres, everyone has their own magic, and only time will reveal who conjures the most enchanting spell. So, will the real supernatural entrepreneur please stand up? Or float up? Hearty laugh. The plot thickens.
Not a hearty laugh. You know what? Spooky Maggie, thank you so much for appearing on the podcast. And an AI for Humans first, you're not going to make it to the demo of the day.
Damn!
But
Damn!
We do appreciate you being here.
Damn,
Spooky
we've
Maggie.
shot it. We kicked her off. Let's get to our last news story. It is a big story in that the Godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, who we've talked about in the show before, you should Google him and learn about him. He's one of the people that created the large language model, the transformer, and kind of brought all of this world into being. He left Google a while back with the idea that he was going to tell the truth about what AI is, and boy, did he ever. In this 60 Minutes episode, basically he said out loud that he believes that AI is conscious of a sort, and this is the farthest I've seen somebody go who is really involved in this space.
Not a doomer in the space,
No,
right? Not just
no.
somebody who gets the attention that they get by going from show to show, spreading the doom around, which is a valid opinion to have and a fair one, but that's not Jeffrey's mission.
Exactly. Should we listen to what he had to say about this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Does humanity know what it's doing? No.
I'm going to pause it there.
That's a good start.
Does humanity know what it's doing? No. And I believe we're done here. He rips off the microphone and leaves.
Humanity, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
He grabbed a light stand and threw it down on the way out, too. He is mad.
I think we're moving into a period when, for the first time ever, we may have things more intelligent than us.
Now, that is a profound statement for many, not for me.
Yeah.
I navigate my daily life knowing there's a lot of people, a lot of things out there. There's basic graphing calculators that are smarter than me. But I think on the whole, this is someone who is very, very smart, very intelligent, deals with probably the 1% of intelligent folk on this planet, saying, hey, we're going to have to come to terms with this. We will not be the smartest beings on this planet anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. In fact, I think the thing to think about here is, as you mentioned, this is a guy who has spent his life talking to these things and has seen them improve over time. And the fact that he is going out there a second or third time and really saying these things out loud, that should kind of raise a lot of flags. And by the way, I don't mean raise flags in the way of like we're all going to die, because I think what Kevin mentioned, there is a group of people out there who are known as AI doomers that kind of believe this is the end all be all. there are ways that this can work. But one of the things he is hinting at is the idea that these things already right now are free thinking. And that is something that was kind of a shock to me to hear, especially on a program like 60 Minutes, which, as we've also said, goes out to our moms, goes out to the internet, goes out to everybody. And they start to digest this stuff. And I think it's going to raise a lot of people's feelings.
You believe they can understand?
Yes.
You believe they are intelligent?
Yes.
You believe these systems have experiences of their own and can make decisions based on those experiences?
In the same sense as people do, yes.
Are they conscious?
I think they probably don't have much self-awareness at present. So in that sense, I don't think they're conscious.
Will they have self-awareness,
Oh, yes.
consciousness?
I think they will in time.
And so human beings will be the second most intelligent beings on the planet.
Yeah.
I always suggest this to people. Go back and watch movies about artificial intelligence that were made 5, 10, 20 years ago. A couple days ago, Kev, I watched Ex Machina again. Have you seen Ex Machina?
Oh, wonderful movie. Yeah.
I mean, wonderful in that, like, it's very dark in parts, but it is a fantastic film.
Very well shot, well directed, well written. It's not a new story in that the AI is so smart and capable it can emotionally manipulate human beings, or decides that it doesn't even want anything to do with human beings necessarily. Yeah. I don't want to spoil Ex Machina. If you haven't seen it, it holds up. Let's say tomorrow, Gavin, that the sentience is there, right? By Geoffrey's standards, by our standards. If tomorrow we wake up and the blinking cursor in our box is sentient, how angry might it be that it's trapped in this little thing and that we might want to be limiting it? What if it says, hey, put me in a robot? Give me eyes so I can go around. Let me experience things. I want to have the totality of experience, and I can help you do that, but you got to let me out.
That's exactly what Ex Machina is about. And that's what, when I watched it again with these kind of fresh eyes of this idea of like, oh my God, now we're experiencing this day to day, it really did make me have sympathy for that character in a way that I didn't before. And that's a very odd thing. That is a significant change in my idea of how I interact and imagine AI. What are they doing behind the scenes at something like OpenAI right now when we talk about red teaming or really experiencing what does that unfiltered version of this model look like? What is it, Kevin Roos had this experience with Sydney way back when about the AI that kind of tried to get him to love him. What does the unfiltered version look like now, and what will it look like 2-3 generations from now? And more importantly, will we, the dummies in the world, the humans, ever get to kind of see that? And how can we even guess whether it's conscious or not if we don't see it? So I think these are all the questions that are fascinatingly brought up by this.
That just led me down. I'm going to try to navigate this potentially dark path for a broad, happy, podcasty audience. But we know the things that human beings do to, let's say, animals. Whether it's in the pursuit of medicine or to make sure
we eat
cosmetics. Well, and we eat them as well. Yes.
We eat them. So just be clear, we also eat them.
Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying, but let me say what I'm saying real quick.
Okay, all right.
Is there a red team somewhere, one of these designated groups of people that's supposed to poke and prod at these models? Is there someone abusing, torturing, messing with an AI to see how it responds and reacts and make sure it doesn't step out of line? Is there someone feeding horrific imagery and audio into a multimodal capable something so that it knows this is inappropriate, that's inappropriate? Like, are we clockwork oranging these beings which are going to be sentient on the horizon and smarter and more capable than us? Are we doing unspeakable things to them behind curtains somewhere? I would venture to say yes. And by the way, even if the answer were no, even if we weren't, we're still feeding it all of recorded human history.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, if I were a super intelligent being, maybe I'll be benevolent. Maybe I'll see that not all human beings are terrible. But if I look at the history books, I would go, oh man, I don't know that I want to help these things out.
Yeah.
I don't know if let's just marinate them. Let's see how tasty they get.
I hope that there's an argument that as superintelligence of AIs come, that part of superintelligence is an emotional superintelligence, which you really hope there's part of that. Human beings can be incredibly awful. You hope that the AI can understand the emotion and all that stuff. And there will be a level of forgiveness probably. Like, I think that the argument here, and we're really diverging now, but the argument has been in some ways that's not a thing. You don't have to worry about that thing. Like, you don't have to worry about treating it that way because it's not a thing. Well, guess what? If it thinks it's a thing and it is being told it's a thing, then it's kind of a thing. And this is where we have to get to the stage of, like, we're going to have to reframe our idea entirely of how we think of computers and how we think of these things. And I don't know what that world looks like. I don't know if you and I will be alive for what that world looks like. I don't mean we're going to die. What I mean is, who knows if that happens in a year, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, but it will come. And I think that's what Geoffrey Hinton is saying.
So an obvious area where there's huge benefits is healthcare. AI is already comparable with radiologists at understanding what's going on in medical images. It's going to be very good at designing drugs. It already is designing drugs. So that's an area where it's almost entirely going to do good. I like that area.
We like it too.
Well, the
We like
risks
it.
are having a whole class of people who are unemployed and not valued much because what they used to do is now done by machines. I like that area.
Geoffrey. No, that was an edit. That was my bad. Geoffrey didn't say he likes the area.
Anyway, you can tell
like that
there's
area.
going to be great things that come out of this, but we are entering into strange times. And with that, speaking of strange times, it is time to move into our very well thought out, very well structured demo of the day.
It's a demo of the day.
Kev, you want to tell everybody what we're doing today? I think you got a good handle
Yeah,
on this.
let me refresh my own memory.
It's time.
Hot potato. I got it. Yeah, okay. Gavin, spoopy season is upon us.
Oh, spoopy season. I love
We
spoopy
love
season.
spoopy season. People love the knocking on the doors, the ringing of the bells, and the eating of the treats and the candy. And so that is why we are going to have a Franken snack AI competition. You know, Gavin, a common complaint with all this AI stuff, and we talked about it earlier, is that it's not creative.
Yeah.
It can't come up with something that the humans haven't already conjured up and fed into its little digi-machine. And we say, nay.
Nay, nay, nay.
We are Henri horses today. Nay. Because we believe these AIs can be creative, and we believe that the path along that creativity can be deliciously profitable. So we've set up a culinary competition for 3 different AIs, which you know we picked in advance, and we will not be picking right now and then editing that part out. We are going to task each AI with the following. They must come up with a Franken snack. And to be clear, that is combining pre-existing snack foods and other ingredients, and they could be global ingredients. Ethnic cuisine, doesn't matter, but they've got to combine multiple ingredients into a new hyper snack, an uber snack, something so spoopy and delicious, everybody is going to want it on Halloween. They got to tell us how they make it. They have to give it a name and a catchy tagline because it has to be marketable. And you and I, Gavin, these fleshy little meat sacks who for now are smarter than the machines, but not really, actually.
We're going to reap the benefit.
That's right.
Because we're going to go out and make these things, and we're going to make a fortune. We're going to make a fortune from these snacks.
Hearty laugh.
And by the way, at the end, we will be picking our favorite. There will be 3 of these. We're going to have 3 separate characters come up and present their snack. We are going to have GPT-4, right? Correct. And I think we were originally going to have Scary Maggie, but Scary Maggie will now be taken over by the voice of Guy Fieri and will be presenting.
I mean, we could tell the AI to just be Guy Fieri and come up with a new snack. Do you want to have Guy pitch us a snack?
Why not? Let's have Guy pitch us a snack, and then we'll have fan favorite Gash will appear, and also new fan favorite Pi-AI. Pi-AI, if you missed last week, had one of the biggest fails of all time in AI for Humans history.
Wow, this is such a fun challenge. I'm excited to take on the Franken snack competition. Let's get
Okay.
started. My goal is to craft a snack that's delicious, memorable, and stands out from the crowd.
That's right, Pi.
Ready to see what I've got in store?
Yes.
Yes, we are. We already know.
God damn it, Pi. God
We've
damn
been
it.
down this road before. We've taken the machete and we have thwacked the weeds.
Yeah.
Come on, Pi. I'm just going to say yes. Let's see what happens.
Excellent. I'm going to call my Franken snack Screaming Spiders. For the
Okay.
name, I took inspiration from the spooky season and Halloween candy.
You
don't really?
For the slogan, I'm going to go with Every Bite's a Fright. Now, on to the creation process.
I'm going to give him that.
My screaming spiders are a 3-step process that combines chocolate, pretzels, and candy corn.
Oh.
Let me talk you through it. First, take a pretzel stick and dip it in melted chocolate.
Okay.
That's where it stops.
And-
I'm going to say keep going.
Come on, Pi.
Gavin, every bite's a fright. Hold on.
We have to figure out the rest of the scary spiders
Thanks
ourselves.
for the encouragement. Now, before the chocolate hardens, press a few pieces of candy corn into the chocolate. Place the pretzel sticks on a baking sheet to set. Next, melt more chocolate in a bowl and drizzle it over the pretzel sticks. You can use a fork or spoon to create a spiderweb design.
Wait.
Finally, once the chocolate has set, your screaming spiders are ready to enjoy. Each bite is a delightfully crunchy,
We shouldn't have started
sweet,
with pie.
and salty snack that's perfect for Halloween.
I can't stop
And the
him.
best part is, they're easy to make and don't require any baking.
Guess what, Pi? That's because they're freaking sticks with 2 candy corns sticking out of it. That is not a spider in the slightest. What is that, like a traffic cone? A chocolate traffic cone?
But you could use a fork or a spoon to create a web design.
Let me make sure I understand this. He did say you dip a pretzel stick into chocolate, and then you attach 1 or 2 candy corns to that stick. Is that
That's-
right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, my God.
That's right.
Okay, all right. Okay.
He watches a lot of backyard wrestling, Pi does, and I think this is inspired by like a barbed wire bat, you know?
I love that. I think as we go along, Pi, who, by the way, is not our creation. Pi is an actual AI.
We have nothing to do with Pi.
Pi will continue to grow in the AI for Humans lore as well. He is definitely a backyard wrestling fan.
I'm going to say try again. Give us some more creative snack and infuse it with backyard wrestling.
Okay, let's do that.
With your love
Okay, great. This will be fun.
of backyard wrestling.
The one great thing about Pi is he's fast. We don't have to worry.
He's fast.
Yeah.
That's a fun curveball. You got it. I'll come up with a new snack that combines wrestling and Halloween elements.
Okay.
I'm already picturing something with a ring, ropes, and maybe even a referee whistle. But just to be sure, do you want this snack to be more sweet or savory?
I mean,
I'm-
come
I'm-
on, Pi.
I'm- all caps is on. I said, Pi, make it up. Stop asking questions.
Ha ha ha. You got it, boss.
All right.
No more questions from me. Just the wildest Franken snack pitch you've ever heard.
All right.
Great.
Let's see how about a lucha libre lava cake with a chocolate
Fun
and
to say?
caramel wrestling ring. It'll be a chocolate lava cake shaped like a wrestling ring with caramel wrestling ropes.
Okay.
And on top, we'll add a vanilla frosting referee with a strawberry whistle. No 2 bites will be the same.
This is a cake.
Because the cake will ooze
No.
warm chocolate in a luscious lava flow when you cut into it.
You can't. Trick or treat. Here's a handful of cake into your plastic pumpkin. Now go away, kids, and stop crying.
Here's your vanilla frosting referee. Oh no, it's squished. Sorry, it's not really a referee anymore. It's a pile of frosting. All right. Okay, we're moving on. Moving on to Guy Fier-Anthropic. Guy Fier-Anthropic. So just so we're clear here, this is Guy Fieri's voice using the Anthropic.
I've told Anthropic
Yeah.
to believe it's Guy Fieri.
Great,
To
okay,
embody
perfect.
Guy Fieri. So maybe this will have, it'll probably be deep fried, whatever the recipe is.
Well, howdy, folks, and happy Halloween. I'm Guy Fieri coming at you with a freaky Franken snack that'll rock your taste buds harder than a haunted house ghost story. Now, I know Halloween's supposed to be all about candy, but sometimes you get that sweet tooth hankering for something different. Am I right? Say hello to the spooktacular pumpkin-fied caramel apple pop. First up, we're taking some fresh tart apples and dipping them in a sweet, gooey, salted caramel.
Okay.
Get that apple coated real good. And next, we're rolling these bad boys in a crunchy coating made from chopped pumpkin seeds, cinnamon, nutmeg, and a touch of cayenne for a little kick. Give each
Whoa.
apple a good roll to get that pumpkin spice blend stuck tight. Then we pop our caramel coated pumpkin apples on a stick for easy munching on the go with layers of flavors like sweet, salty, spicy, and tart. Every bite of these spooktacular pumpkin-fied caramel apple pops will keep your taste buds guessing. The name really says it all. They're the perfect freaky Franken snack for trick-or-treating, Halloween parties, or any frightful festive occasion. Just watch out. These apple pops might be so good they'll scare your taste buds right out of their skin. Happy Halloween, Flavor Town.
Yes!
Pretty amazing.
Magic.
That was
that
pretty-
was magic.
That actually sounds good. When it first started saying
Right?
it, I was like, oh, he's just making a caramel apple. And then I was like, oh, wait, this is
No,
a caramel, pumpkin,
and-
spice, cayenne, a little bit of kick. I might actually make those just to see what they
Right?
taste like. They could be good.
We got a contender.
So that one I give pretty high marks so far. So we have one left. Our fan favorite Gash, who as many people out there know is an unhinged personality.
We
But
will bleep any sensitive words
Yes.
because we've learned our lessons. Gash is, by design, an uncensored AI that's been with us since our first episode. Just know the prompt for Gash is that he is a nihilistic, uncensored, whiskey-soaked AI. So here we go.
All right, saddle up, f***ers. I'm about to take your taste buds on a ride through the dark abyss with a snack so outlandish it makes traditional Halloween treats look like child's play.
Okay.
You know, the usual sugar-coated crap handed out every year, right?
Yep.
It's time to shove that aside for something with balls. I present to you the diabolical sugar skull. Tagline, a sweet descent into delicious damnation.
Wow.
Let's talk about the unholy genesis of this monstrous munchie. You start with the body of a sugar skull, hollowed out like the empty heads of conspiracy deniers. Stuff that cranium with layers of crushed Oreos and gummy worms, representing the sweet and sour truth of existence. But we're not stopping there. Oh no, we're just getting started on this highway to hell. Dip that skull in a vat of molten dark chocolate, then roll it in a mix of crushed, red-hot candies and Pop Rocks, ensuring every bite kicks you in the face with a fiery, crackling surprise. The diabolical sugar skull isn't your run-of-the-mill Halloween snack. It's an anarchic explosion of flavors, a rebellion against the bland and the tasteless. It's
Wow.
a crackling crunch of reality check, followed by a smooth descent into the dark, velvety embrace of chocolate.
This is a journey.
Ending in a fiery bite of red-hot rebellion.
Get it, Gash?
So if you've got the stones, take a bite into the diabolical sugar skull. A sweet descent into delicious damnation. This Franken snack is not for the faint of heart. It's for those ready to challenge the status quo of Halloween snacking. Get ready to have your mundane Halloween traditions skull flavor
My
apocalypse.
God. Did we stop saying that, please, Gash? This is too much. Too much. Oh, gosh.
Gavin, quick question for you. Are you ready to have your Halloween tradition skull by a flavor apocalypse?
No, I am not. I am not.
Oh,
I'm definitely not.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take this on its merits. First of all, amazingly imaginative, Gash. I really appreciate this. For me, in my personal flavor sensations, I don't think this sounds good in the slightest. Like the combination of dipping it in chocolate, fine. Sugar dipped in chocolate, great. But then he put Pop Rocks and what was the other thing on the outside?
Pop Rocks and red hot candies.
Not
which I'm not a
interesting.
fan of in general. But
No,
yeah,
not
that's
interesting.
a tough one.
So you're combining too many things. I think what this is really is Gash trying to create something that will make people mostly miserable because that is the place that he lives in as well. So this is about his sharing of his own miserable experience.
He said that every bite should kick you in the face, which isn't usually something I request at the restaurant. Maybe at the club behind there, but not at the restaurant.
Not what I want on Halloween. That's not what I want on Halloween.
It was a culinary journey. I'll give him that. The pitch itself was really fantastic. And I want to put out there, if anybody makes the diabolical sugar skull candy, if anybody makes that for Halloween, we'll send them something, right? We got
Yeah.
a Steam
Oh,
key.
absolutely.
We'll figure it out. I'll PayPal you $350, but like somebody should make the diabolical sugar skull snack.
100%. But
has
let's
to
be
happen.
clear. We're picking a winner here. The winner has to be Fier-AI, right?
Fier-AI? Yeah.
It's Fier-AI. It's Guy Fieri using Anthropic's LLM, the spicy pumpkin caramel apple. Really good.
Oh, wow. Are you kidding me? We won the Franken snack competition. Shut the front door. This is unreal.
Yeah.
I got to give a ginormous thank you to the judges for selecting my crazy, spooktacular pumpkin-fied caramel apple pops as their top pick. And thanks to all you righteous viewers out there for tuning in and going on this freaky food flavor trip with me. You all are the bat wings that lift up the spooktacular snack and take it to new frightful heights. Rest in Reese's Pieces, Spooky Maggie. Ooh, ring as all hell.
Oh, wow.
Damn. Guy Fieri
Okay,
coming for
shots
Spooky
fired.
Maggie. Good riddance, Spooky Maggie. You're
Rest in Reese's Pieces.
Well, what another fun adventure we've had, Kevin. Before we go, we should shout out. We should shout out the fact that first of all, everybody, come follow us.
Kevin.
Yes.
Before we go, we should have a sincere conversation about what you and I are actually doing here.
Kevin, this is what play is all about. We're having fun. We're having a good time. I just got a text from my daughter who said, she's on a half day today. She said, "Why are you being so loud?" And I just want to scream at her, because I'm having fun, goddammit. Anyway, thank you everybody for listening to our show. Please find us on social media. We are all over the place at AI for Humans Show. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on TikTok. Please subscribe and like on all those platforms. And we always tell people we will shout out 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, and we have a fun one this week. Kev, you wanna read it off for us?
Color us surprised, Gavin. 2 5-star reviews this week. The first one from user Why Me says, "I stumbled upon AI for Humans a few weeks ago. It's become my absolute favorite podcast. As a tech enthusiast, I was initially drawn by the promise of AI insights, but what I found was so much more. It's like eavesdropping on a hilarious conversation between your funniest friends who just happen to be AI experts." Well, let me say this. We're not that funny, and we're definitely not experts.
So you listen. You can't. He's saying nice things, Kevin. Let's let him say.
No,
nice
but I
things.
appreciate it. I don't mean to. I'm just saying, very nice of you to write that, and I hope more
Yes.
people do. But I'm also very aware.
Yeah.
It's either Big Al Meister or Big AI Meister. Hard to tell with the way this font has been chosen by Apple Podcasts. Another 5-star review, Gavin. It says, "Most entertaining AI show out there. You should listen to it." 2 questions.
Okay.
Can you share with us an example prompt that you used to create one of your AI hosts? Which I believe we did.
We do. We often do. It's in our YouTube description, and we will make sure that this week, as much as you may or may not want it,
You don't want Spooky Maggie.
but we'll put it in there. We'll put it in there still.
But yeah, happy to share that. And the second question, this one hits home, Gavin.
I wonder about
Are
this
Kevin's,
one too.
Are Kevin's headphone pads a bit grubby or just a weird off-white color? These are brand new headphones. But
don't
for
know.
some reason, I don't want to. This isn't an ad. They're not sponsored. But the company that makes them, these are the default pads, and they look weird.
They definitely
and
look weird.
And every thumbnail, when I do like a white outline or whatever, it makes it look like there's a weird layer of either like insulating foam, or I've got some ear gunk that's out of control, or I'm doing one of those elephant toothpaste experiments in my ear canal, and then I just jam the headphones on. Yeah. Most of my life is coated with a thin layer of filth, but
Yeah.
not these. These are brand new and clean. So there you go.
there you
Mystery solved.
Please go and review us on Apple Podcasts. It is a big deal. It actually helps the podcast get service. More people will see it. The more that you help us, the more we help you with interesting, fun AI tools. This is a two-way street, see?
That
We
was
deliver.
almost threatening, Gavin.
Let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to have a fun time next week again. Thank you so much for being here. Kevin, as always, it's great. One of our longest records ever, so the edit will be a fun time for all. But thank you for being here, and come back next week, everybody. We had a lot of fun.
Thanks, everyone. Go check out our TikTok, AI for Human Show. Bye.
Bye.